This happened in late 2023 when I was working overnight security at a distribution warehouse outside Chicago. It was one of those massive concrete buildings surrounded by truck bays and empty lots. Quiet after midnight. Dead quiet. Just the hum of refrigeration units and the occasional semi pulling in at 3 or 4 a.m. My shift was 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. alone. There were cameras covering every hallway, loading dock, and entrance. My job was simple: sit in the security office, monitor feeds, and do hourly patrols with a handheld scanner that logged checkpoints around the building. Nothing ever happened. Until the night the motion alerts started triggering in Zone 12. Zone 12 was an old storage corridor that had been sealed off for renovations. No inventory. No staff access. Badge readers deactivated. At 1:17 a.m., the system pinged, motion detected, Zone 12. I rolled my eyes. Probably a glitch. Old wiring. I pulled up the camera feed. Empty hallway. Fluorescent lights buzzing. Stacks of unused pallets against the wall. No movement. I reset the alert. At 1:26 a.m., it triggered again. Same zone. Same camera. This time when I switched over, I thought I saw something at the far end of the corridor. Like a shadow moving past the lens. But the image was grainy. Hard to tell. I radioed the warehouse manager out of habit, even though no one else was on site. No response. I grabbed my flashlight and did a patrol. Zone 12 was colder than the rest of the building. Noticeably colder. The metal door that led into it was supposed to stay locked. It wasn't. It was slightly cracked open. Just enough to slip through. I pushed it open and stepped inside. The corridor stretched long and narrow. Half the ceiling lights were off. My boots echoed against the concrete. Nothing looked disturbed. No broken locks. No forced entry. I walked the length of the hall. At the very end was an old employee break room that hadn't been used in years. The door to it was open. Inside, there was a folding chair placed directly in the center of the room, facing the hallway. I stopped walking. That chair hadn't been there before. I would have noticed. I backed out and reported it in the incident log. At 2:03 a.m., the motion alert went off again. Zone 12. This time when I pulled up the camera feed, the chair was gone. The break room was empty. I zoomed in. The hallway camera flickered once. Then steadied. I rewound the footage. At 1:58 a.m., the chair was visible. At 1:59 a.m., there was a frame glitch. One single frame of distortion. At 2 a.m., the chair was gone. No one entered. No one exited. Just gone. I felt that tight, cold feeling in my stomach. I radioed my supervisor at home. He sounded annoyed but told me to clear the corridor again. So I did. Door was still unlocked. But this time, when I stepped into Zone 12, I heard something. A dragging sound. Metal against concrete. Coming from the far end. Slow. Deliberate. I froze. The sound stopped. I called out, "Security. If someone's back here, identify yourself." Nothing. Then I heard it again. Closer. Dragging. Like something heavy being pulled across the floor. I moved forward, shining my flashlight down the corridor. Empty. But as I approached the break room, I saw fresh scrape marks on the concrete. Leading from inside the room. Out into the hallway. And stopping right where I was standing. Like whatever had been dragged ended at my boots. There was nothing there. I stepped back. And that's when the overhead lights shut off. All of them. The corridor went pitch black. Not flickering. Not dimming. Just off. My radio crackled with static. And through the static, I heard breathing. Slow. Right in my ear. I sprinted out of Zone 12 and slammed the metal door shut. When I got back to the security office, I checked the system logs. At 2:11 a.m., someone had accessed the lighting controls for Zone 12 remotely. But here's the thing. Only 3 people had clearance for that. The warehouse manager, the regional supervisor, and me. The manager was asleep at home. The regional supervisor was in another state. And my access card never left my pocket. The next morning, maintenance reviewed the footage. They said the camera glitch was data corruption. They said the motion alerts were faulty sensors. They said the lighting shutoff was a software error. But they couldn't explain one thing. At 2:10 a.m., right before the lights went out, the hallway camera caught a reflection in the metal wall panel. A faint silhouette. Standing directly behind me. Too tall to be me. Too close to be a trick of the lens. I quit 2 weeks later. Last I heard, they permanently sealed Zone 12 during renovations. Concrete poured wall to wall. No access door anymore. Sometimes I still dream about that dragging sound. And in the dream, it doesn't stop at my boots. It keeps going. Right behind me. If you've ever worked overnight security or warehouse shifts, you already know how quiet those buildings get after 2 a.m. Too quiet. Subscribe to the Haunt Files. Because sometimes the cameras aren't there to protect you. Sometimes they're just there to record what's standing behind you.